Hey yogis, welcome to your Maya Align today. The practice we're working with today is creating space. Now we'll need a couple of props to assist us with our postures today. So if you don't already have them, hit pause and you want to grab yourself a bolster or some pillows and 2 cork blocks or a couple of books. We're going to be using those in just a moment for a beautiful space creating posture. But before we do, let's come to a comfortable seat. And you might choose to elevate your sit bones upon your bolster or upon one of your blocks, whatever's comfortable for you. Today I'll take mine across my mat and I'm going to take a Sukhasana to assist in this process of creating space and allowing my hips to open, my knees to soften, my low belly to open. And it's a ripple effect that travels up the spine, that opening. When you feel spacious, your breath is drawn with a little more ease. You're allowed to and able to, or allowing your breath to access deeper parts of the self. And as you settle into stillness in your comfortable seat, whatever you've chosen to take today, I want to introduce you to our mudra that we're working with. Now, we're here for 3 minutes, so do make yourself nice and comfortable. And we're working with our mudra, which is our seal. The seal that we're creating today is with the element of ether. Now, ether, or space, if you like, is channeled through that middle finger. And today we're connecting our Agni, our fire, to the tip of our ether. So creating that connection now, and it's a gentle connection. So there's no need to apply force or pressure. It's simply resting the tips of the thumb and the middle finger together. Those remaining 3 fingers are extended, and we want to drape the backs of the hands over the legs. We're looking to ensure they stay within our space that we're occupying in our opening posture today. So whether you're in Hira or Sukhasana, the fingers are drawn inside the knees, the shoulders drape down the back body, the elbows nice and soft. And with you connecting your Agni and your ether together, this mudra is often referred to as an Akasha Mudra or an ether mudra. So your ether mudra today is here to help you create some space. Close down the eyes and begin drawing an inhale through the nose. Feel the space that you naturally occupy, slowly exhaling out of the nose, without any need to really forcefully draw the breath or control the breath. We first become the watcher. And as you watch the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale, and we notice without judgment, we observe how much space we occupy within our physical body, how much space we allow our breath to occupy, and also how much we're able to let go. And as you begin really connecting to this element of ether, as you begin connecting to the element of space, maybe you feel comfortable to extend your inhale, mirroring and matching that with extending and releasing just as much energy, prana, as you absorb. And creating this cycle of inhales and exhales, and bring your mind's eye as you continue to breathe with your eyes closed down in your own space and time. We develop a sense of comfort in elongating both ends of the breath. We begin creating space for ourselves. Yogis, we're here for a couple more minutes, and so as you connect to your breath, I want you to bring your mind's eye attention and awareness to the space that you currently occupy, not just now within your physical body, but also around your body. And you know that feeling and that sensation when you're under pressure, when you're under tension. The feeling, if you've ever had any form of depression, anxiety, you'll know what I'm talking about with that pressure that we feel upon our lungs. That pressure that we feel that we're under, and we feel a heaviness, a weight upon our shoulders, a weight on our entire body. And ether is that space around our physical body and within our physical body. It's that first layer of our auric field. And when we don't feel light and spacious, we feel that weight. We feel it compressing our breath. We feel the tension. And I want you to set an intention for yourself for today's practice. One that you know, an area of your life that you're aware of, that you're currently feeling that pressure, that tension, that weight. An area that you know that would benefit from you with this mudra, with this breath, with this practice, to allow you to help let go of physical and emotional weight and clutter. And set your intention for an area of yourself, whether it be your pressure that you're applying upon yourself in your logical mind, your emotional mind, your emotional body, your physical body, an area that you know that would benefit from creating space today. And yogis, let's take our final inhale together and allowing it to be the deepest one you have taken yet. Open your mouth now and slowly exhale and sigh out that breath. And let's release our Akasha Mudra and shake out the hands. And maybe bring this shake to the elbows, to the shoulders, to the neck and to the head, allowing some movement, maybe taking a swing of the arms, a roll of the shoulders. You know that feeling when you're under pressure or under stress, and I love that we always refer to it as under. We feel that compression and we feel small. Maybe we even feel belittled and we shy away from things. We don't really step out into that spaciousness that we're able to occupy, not on our mat and not in the real world either. Let's release out of our seat, slowly peeling the knees from the comfort of that open drape. And we're going to be setting ourselves up using all three props today. And so the bolster will be supporting our head. So if you want to set that up at the top of your mat, and that's going to be your little pillow today, well, there'll be space through the back of your thoracic, the back of your lumbar spine. And one of these blocks is going to be set across the mat, I should say, similar alignment to the bolster, and this one's going to run across the nipple line. This remaining block, just keep nice and handy close by you, as that will be setting up once we've ensured the position of that middle block is correct for you today. So take your sit bones to the mat, take your feet nice and wide, soles of the feet connected firmly to your mat, and slowly draw the elbows down. You'll be setting up with your hands that cork block beneath the middle of your rib cage, the middle of your thoracic, and we're hoping to align that along the line of the nipples. As you set up the bolster to support your head, we're looking for a gentle opening through the throat, but space to be through the back body, space for the arms, space for the shoulders. So spread your wings, and we'll just check in here for a moment and make sure that you have created enough space before we set up that final block. Now prepare, because we know it's going to feel a little uncomfortable, because no longer is that pressure upon us, but we are the pressure upon the block. We feel gravity drawing us down and compressing us into those corners of the block. Once you know you've got the right adjustment, take that other bolster in hand, that's a block, not a bolster. Take the soles of the feet to the mat and slowly lift the hips. And we'll draw into a bridge for just a moment. Feel the lightness of your pelvis and take a little sway, a little rock side to side. Maybe take some circles as we feel into the freedom of the lumbar spine, the freedom of the low belly. And that space we now have between our physical self and our mat, we feel less restricted. We feel able to move freely with our breath, move freely with whatever intuitive movements we sense feels right today. Well, let's press into the soles of the feet and lift a little higher now and find a bridge for just a moment. And then we'll be taking that block same height as the one under your thoracic and also running across the mat. This time, this one will be set up to support the sacrum. Settle in, allow the pelvis to rest, checking in with that position to ensure there's no pinching or no pressure upon the lumbar spine, so your low back and that natural lordotic curvature. But likewise at the opposite end of the block, that your coccyx is still freely placed with space the other side of that block. So you're looking for that nice bony part of the sacrum. Now from here, let's spread our wings and settle back in. Feel into that natural drape that takes place for the heart, that natural drape that takes place for the low back. Now you might choose to stay here, and wherever you opt to take your position, your posture, we're taking it for 2 minutes. So maybe just explore by extending one leg. Feel the space that creates around the pelvis, around the hip flexors. If that feels okay, maybe extend the other. And from here, with the hips open, with the heart open, with the head supported, we look to create an opening through the throat as well. So if you want to make any final adjustments, do so. And then we settle back into this support. We settle into the stillness. And come back to that beautiful elongated breath. Lengthening both inhale and exhale. Hanging the upper body heavy. Hanging the lower body heavy. Ether is such an interesting and intriguing element to me, and maybe to you too, as it's space and it's spaciousness, but it's also what connects us. It could be seen as that space between our connective tissue, that space that connects our physical self to our emotional self, our mental self, our intuitive self, and that bliss body. And you know, when you're under any sort of pressure or stress or tension, as soon as you create just a moment of space, maybe it's taking yourself off to bed and having a little nap, a sleep. Maybe it's taking some breath work. Maybe it's creating physical space between yourself and the stressor. Things take on a different shape, a different form. They feel different. They take on different meaning. Yogi's your final 30 seconds. As soon as we connect to some space between that and the pressure, we feel a lightness. We feel that reduction in gravity. And that's that connection to the ether. It feels happy. We feel humble. We feel light. We feel lighthearted. It feels more playful. And just like that space between the colors of the rainbow, it's almost merging. It's that point where it connects, and it's not one color or another. It's not one thing or another. It's that molding, that merging. And that is the space between our bodies, the space between us and each other. Take your final breath and allow it to be a spacious one. Deep inhale, filling your lungs with that energy, and slowly exhaling and releasing the breath. Let's slide one heel at a time up to find the sole of the foot connecting to the mat. And take a moment here, reset, take a breath. And draw the pressure now through the soles of the feet to the mat, and slowly lift the hips from that bolster, that block, my goodness. And allow the pelvis to meet the mat once more, hanging the hips heavy. And create that connection. And then lifting once more and feeling into that spaciousness, feeling some fluid movement, maybe that little rock side to side, or your circles again. That flexion and extension, feel into the freedom that you have through your pelvis when you're not limited, when you're not stuck in one place. Let's settle the hips, and we'll slowly plant the hands, draw the chin into chest, and walking up the elbows as we release out of that block that was beneath your thoracic, set it off to the side, and then slowly unwinding the spine, drawing down and connecting again the back of the head to the pillow that is your bolster. Feel soft, feel light. Still feeling the support. And when we remove one support, we've got the freedom to feel into another. And the support today, your mat. Let's release the support from the back of the head. Slowly rolling to one side. And then pressing into the mat, and we'll draw back to our seat. And yogis, that bolster, just take off to the side, as we'll be using that throughout our practice today. So have it ready. And we'll come back to our seat, but this time facing the top of the mat. Make sure that one's just off to the side. Beautiful. So our peak posture that we're playing with today is a very beautiful, spacious posture, sometimes referred to as fallen triangle, sometimes referred to as fallen star. Now, the Sanskrit name for this posture is Patita Tarasana. And Patita is fallen and Tara is star. So our fallen star or our fallen triangle. We're going to begin by rolling over the knees and finding a tabletop pose. Take the knees just as wide as the hips. Take the hands just as wide as the shoulders. Feeling into, rather than a cat-cow, some circles through the hips, through the lumbar spine. And taking a roll and allowing it to be rhythmical, allowing it to sink in with the breath. Maybe you close down your eyes here as we can begin connecting not just to the feeling body, but the space in which our physical body occupies. Scooping nice and low and rounding out the back and taking it nice and high. Creating space between the shoulder blades, hang the head heavy. And utilizing the head, the shoulders, and the pelvis, and the rib cage, all of that, which takes up and takes space in our torso. Settle into stillness. And let's slowly draw it back to our balasana, settling the hips back to the heels. Take a walk with the fingertips down the mat and bow the head heavy. Sliding those fingertips back to your hero pose. Take a roll of the shoulders. Now, you know when you feel uncomfortable in a situation, an environment, we tend to close off and we reduce the space that we occupy. We curl in, we stand back, we take a seat, we maybe fold our arms, we cross our legs. Today we're looking to explore that and how we feel when we invite more spaciousness through our arms, our legs, our heart. So from our hero pose, we're going to walk back via tabletop, tuck the toes, and we'll transition through a down dog. As we settle in, feel the space through the back of the hips and notice how that feels. Take your pedal out, and as you rock side to side, can you feel that elongation through the Achilles, through the hamstrings? Now, it doesn't initially feel really comfortable, does it? It feels a little restrictive, it feels tight. And you'll notice once you become comfortable, once you take this rhythm, this rock and roll a few times, not only does it begin to feel more comfortable, we begin to feel less tension, less restriction through that movement and through that repetition and through exposing ourselves to that. It begins to actually feel really good. Let's settle into stillness for a moment, and on the inhale, elevate the heels, the hips, hang the head. On the exhale, draw the heels back towards the mat and sink the belly and the rib cage back towards the thighs. Releasing the head and shake it out, yes and no. You're finding some space around the cervical spine, around the vertebra that occupies the neck. And again, notice tension, notice tightness. And take a few little rocks and rolls and rotations. When we remove that tension, and when we hang freely in gravity, we're able to occupy all of the space we choose. Notice how good it feels. Yogis, from here, we're going to take a walk all the way to the top of the mat. Take your time to do so. Finding the feet shoulder width apart. We're going to unravel the spine ever so slowly, releasing the vertebra one at a time. Taking a roll of the shoulders. I haven't quite got this short hair business yet. Hair absolutely everywhere. Let's take a roll. And often when we take the roll of our shoulders, we stay really tight. We stay really small and succinct in our circles. Rather than that today, we're taking 6 rounds. Use the elbows, use the hands, use the head, the rib cage. As you exhale, curl in, round in, and notice how that feels. As you inhale, send the arms overhead, gaze to the sky. And 4 more rounds, inhale. Work with your breath, exhale. Last 3 rounds in your own time. Maybe you open through the pelvis, through the knees. And final round. And settle into stillness in your Tadasana. Open the palms, open the chest, open the shoulders. We're going to begin warming up, yogis, in a simple little flow and slowly find ourselves producing a little bit of heat and sending our auric field a little wider, a little more expansively to occupy more of that space around us. Let's take an inhale and spread your wings nice and wide, sweep the sky. As you exhale, find prayer and draw it into the forehead and pour forwards from the pelvis. Your first full forward fold. Hang the head heavy. Maybe take the hands to the shins. We inhale, halfway lift, tilt the pelvis. Open the chest. Spine is parallel. Take a breath. Exhale, deep bend in the knees. Ripple the spine. Hang the head heavy. Maybe connecting your belly to the thighs, maybe connecting your hands to the calves. So let's plant the hands upon the mat, deep bend in the knees, slowly step it all the way back of the mat and find your plank pose. And take a breath here, inhale, body's nice and long and strong. And as you exhale, we're finding a side plank. We're going to roll over those feet and find the left foot on the outer blade, the right foot on the inner blade. And from here, unravel that right arm to the sky as we find a Vasisthasana, a side plank. Feel spacious from hand to hand. Open through the chest. Stay one more breath. And slowly draw that right hand back to the mat. Roll over the balls of the foot. Let's drop the knees. Release the toes. And slowly lower chest and chin down to the mat. As you connect your chest and connect your chin, keep space through the pelvis. Take one more breath. On the exhale, we ripple through that midline and draw the shoulder blades together. And it's always in polarity, our energy, right? So when we draw our shoulder blades together to connect along the back body, yes, that's the restriction and the contraction, but we're creating more space through the front body. So it tends to work hand in hand. Feel into the energy of the back body and how that feels for you. Feel into the energy of the front body and connect to that too. Let's take a breath here. Inhale. And on the exhale, press into the hands and pressing away from the mat. We're going to ripple back to that Balasana we began with. Take the hips back to the heels. Forehead meets the mat. Inhale via our tabletop, tuck the toes. Our plank pose, our transition. Inhale. Take the hips to the sky this time, just setting those heels back into the mat. One breath. Slowly taking a walk all the way top of the mat. Feet shoulder width apart. Unravel the spine and draw to rise. And take a roll of the shoulders, but careful, catch yourself. Take it nice and high, wide. Occupy the space. We find our Tadasana. One breath. And as you take this breath, notice your energy. Notice the space you're already creating for your physical body. Let's take a sweep and bring that to the other side. Inhale, draw to rise. Find hands in prayer. Create the connection. Draw through to the forehead. Deep bend hips and knees. Melt through, forward fold. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. Tilting the pelvis to create space for the low back and for the belly. Exhale, ripple down and create your connection. And planting the hands upon the mat, we step it back, opposing foot, right leg leads, sink it nice and low. Left leg follows. Take a pause here in your plank. Feel into the strength of your arms, the strength of your legs. As you exhale, our right hand stays planted, and we roll now to the outer blade of the right foot and the inner blade of the left. Left arm peels open, our Vasisthasana. Left arm extends to the sky. Stay one breath. Press the mat away from you with that right hand. As you exhale, left hand meets the mat. Rotate balls of the feet. Let's drop the knees. Inhale on the exhale, slowly lower down. Chin and chest meets the mat. Ripple through that midline and take a pause, drawing the shoulder blades back together. Gaze stays down to protect the cervical spine. And take a breath. And press into the mat and draw the body away as you draw back to your Balasana. Exhale, hips back to heels. Forehead meets the mat. Inhale, ripple to rise, your tabletop. Yogis, let's tuck the toes and find our plank pose. Inhale, hips to the sky. Exhale, your down dog. Now, rather than feel small, rather than take these small little baby steps, occupying and utilizing your ether is about getting a little brave, right? So rather than our little steps, let's take the right toes to the sky. Open it up and find a scorpion. We hang the foot heavy, we hang the heel heavy, taking that right knee to the sky, feeling into that space around the pelvis, around the front of your hip. And as you square it off, we're going to take a beautiful big sweeping action with that right foot, drawing in via a tiger curl to plant the foot at the top of the mat. Sink the hips nice and low. Feel into that runner's lunge and feel the space now through the front of that left hip. Feels completely different to taking those little baby steps, right? Prepare. Take your inhale. Press into the hands, giant step all the way in left foot. Unravel the spine, we rise. Roll the shoulders, make it large. Your Tadasana. Sweep the hands wide, inhale. Exhale, pour through your midline. Hands meet the shins, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, melt it down, forward fold. Hands meet the mat, deep bend in the knees. Same deal here, taking a giant step back. So we're going to stay with that right leg leading now. Right leg, draw the heel into the sit bones and guide it all the way to the back of the mat. Take a pause, sink the pelvis, opening through that right side. Your left foot now, getting nice and light. Draw it all the way to the back of the mat, and we'll roll straight up to your right side. Right hand, right foot takes the load. Inhale, open, unravel. Your second round, Vashisthasana this side. Exhale, plant the hand. Now you can stay with that knees, chest, chin, or if you feel like a little more fire, we exhale and slowly lower into a full chaturanga. Release the toes and find the tops of the feet pressing the mat. We inhale and feel into that baby cobra, or press the mat away and draw into a little more space through the front body. We're not crunching or compressing the spine. We're drawing the front body open, drawing space across the shoulder, the front of the shoulders, your collarbones. And press into the mat and take that ripple back, your balasana. Inhale, we rise. And tuck the toes, your plank pose. Take a breath. Hips to the sky. Exhale, sink heels to the mat and chest back to the thighs. And from here, yogis, and plant the right, plugging that right foot in. Left toes, open them nice and high. We open the hip and feel into that scorpion. As you hang the left foot, the left knee is the guide, the lead. That is your tool today to create space in your scorpion. Noticing if you draw it closer to the body, further away from the body, taking it higher, taking it wider, you're able to direct that spaciousness. Let's square it off. Point the toes, drawing all the way in, giant leap of faith, top of the mat. Sink in deep through that right side. Prepare, take a breath. Step it all the way in. Exhale, plant the foot, unravel the spine to rise. Now, we often take these big postures, but when we do them with pace, inhale. When we rush through them, sometimes we skip the sensation. We forget to connect when we brush through them as we do and fly through the postures in our flows. Plant the hands, left foot leads, giant step, guide it all the way to the back of the mat. You're not connecting to that ether. You're skipping through it, and we're merging the postures. Right foot steps back. Take a breath. Roll to the left, left outer blade and right inner blade. Left hand supporting you. Right hand draws to the sky in your side plank. And take one more breath. Exhale, right hand meets the mat, rolling over. Inhale. Your exhale lowers you, knees, chest, chin, or full chaturanga. And belly meets the mat, release the toes. Inhale, baby cobra or full cobra. Or ripple it back, hips to meet the heels. We're taking that just once more, playing with your variations here. Inhale, ripple to rise. Yogi's nice and simple. You know where you're going. And tuck the toes. No need to watch on, lead with the right. I want you to really this time connect to the feeling, the sensations of when we take the time and recreate space between the postures, between the movements, the motions that we make. How peaceful, how light, how playful they can become. Step in top of the mat, unravel and make it large. No small playing here. Sweep it wide, inhale. And pour your body through that midline. And plant the hands. Right foot extends. Setting it up back of the mat. Sink it nice and low. Follow through with the left, and this time as you take that roll into your Vashisthasana, maybe you stay here, or maybe you draw that left foot on top of the right, reducing that base of support, reducing the amount of space that you take up on the mat and bringing it back for yourself. Exhale, roll through. Take your chaturanga. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, we melt it back. One final flow, left side. Inhale, tabletop. And tuck our toes and send the hips to the sky. Left toes to rise as you open into that scorpion. And square it off, point the toes, guiding it, using the entirety of the mat. And plant it down, sink nice and low, open that right hip. Step it in and unravel the spine. Noticing naturally how much space you're now taking up with your breath, with your arms, with your legs. Inhale. Opening your hands, your heart. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, ripple down the spine, creating connection, planting hands upon the mat. Left foot steps all the way back. Guide it ever so slowly. Plug in, plant, and open. Right foot extends. Take the roll straight up to the left. And maybe this time as you open into your Vashisthasana, we draw the right foot on top of the mat, on top of the mat, on top of that left foot. Reducing that stable base of support and being here to support yourself. Roll through and take your chaturanga. Inhale, rise, open, expand. And take it back to your balasana and take your hands with you. And backs of the hands to rest beside the feet. Roll the shoulders to open. Feel a little bit of space between the shoulder blades. Allow the shoulders to hang heavy. Final breath. And yogis, unravel the spine, draw back to your hero's pose, and we'll meet in our seat. Now we've got one final preparatory posture. Upper body's nice and strong, our core's nice and strong and prepared. We've created space through the hips. Let's take a walk and find our tabletop. Tuck the toes and send the hips nice and high to your plank pose. And from here, as you find your down dog, I'm going to take those right toes to the sky. So embed the left, open and find your scorpion. And as you square it off and draw that right foot all the way through to plant, we'll sink those hips nice and low. And then from here, taking that rotation into that side plank onto the left side, we're going to roll to the outer blade of the right and sink down into the hips. That right knee falls open and folds open. Similar to our Vashisthasana, we open and find space here from that right knee across the body diagonal line. And pause, and we're going to transition this. Lift and create some space. We find ourselves squared off like your lunge, like your spinal twist. That right foot now is going to step all the way to the back of the mat. And you can plant that right hand once more again if you like. Otherwise, stay hands free and go with me. As we exhale and rotate, we step it all the way back and find your Vashisthasana. Take a breath. Right foot now plants halfway to the back of the mat, and we open the chest, the heart. Right side rotating to the sky. A beautiful wild thing. And this time as we plant the right hand and square it off, you're going to draw that right foot back into your plank pose. And from here, finally closing out with that left side, ripple back and find your down dog. And as you take the right toes to the sky this time, you're going to draw them through across the body and draw that right elbow, that right knee towards the left elbow. Make contact, take pause, take a moment there. Send it back, open up and feel into that scorpion. Drawing it back across the body, encouraging those diagonal lines, take pause. And this time extend the leg, resting the outer blade of the foot in alignment with your right hand. And from here, we rotate that back foot down so the sole of your left foot plants. We're resting on that right hand and we roll over and rest on that left foot. Opening left side of chest now. We have found our fallen triangle, our fallen star. Now we're going to close this off with a counter as you rotate back. You're going to sink into that back knee and slide that right foot across. I'm feeling this side body stretch now through the outer hip. And if you feel okay here from your seat, feel free to stay. Otherwise, draw down to the elbows. Stay on the elbows, or if you feel okay here, take it a little lower. And let's walk it back up. And hands plant. We press into the ball of that back foot and slide the right knee in for your pigeon. Take one breath here. And as you exhale, slowly walk it down, finding a moment in your swan. Yogis, let's give that right side a little breather and bring that to the left. We'll come back once more on the right side and planting both hands. We'll tuck the toes and shoot it straight back for your plank. Beautiful. Take the hips to the sky. I'm plugging in the right. This time the left peels open. Left leg squaring off and setting it all the way top of the mat. Sinking down nice and low in those hips. Planting the right hand, let's peel it open on the left. Opening and rolling into the outer blade of both feet. We sink down in the pelvis, feeling that release through the left hip. That left knee rolls open, the left arm opens. Now watch you not dumping down into the mat here. We still want to create some space. Beautiful. Squaring it off and feel into that spinal twist and preparing. You can plant the hand if you prefer. Otherwise, stay nice and light and lifted to step all the way back of the mat. Balance and drawing into your Vashisthasana. Stay one breath. Left foot plants behind you halfway on the mat. We open into our wild thing. Beautiful. As you draw back through the midline, left hand plants, left foot plants. Find your plank, take a breath, hips to the sky. Now from here, as we plug in that right, we'll take the left toes to open once more. And as you open up into that scorpion, take a breath, allow the hips to open, allow the knee to lead, remember. And from your scorpion, we square it off and take now that left knee across the body, maybe creating that connection, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, open it up, take it back, your scorpion. Square it off. This time as you draw it across the body, we're going to extend that left leg, allowing the outer blade of that right foot to meet the earth. It won't be on your mat. Right arm releases. We roll over and plant both feet, really spacious through the hips. Open right side to the sky. Take a breath. One more. As you exhale and square it back off, hands meet the mat. We allow the left hip to meet the mat. Looking to release through that outer left hip. We stay here or draw down to the elbows. Keep the shoulders squared off, and you're working to square off the hips as well. So you're drawing the right hip forwards, and maybe you stay here, feeling into that torso twist, or draw down to the mat, inviting the forehead to the hands. Let's walk it back up. Plant the hands, right toes to tuck. Draw it in, your pigeon. Take a breath, create space. Exhale, your swan. So beautiful. Yogis, we've done so well. Draw it back up to rise. Tuck those right toes and extend the lefty all the way back. Let's drop the knees and draw back your hero pose. We're going to take our fallen star just once more, both sides, releasing and removing those preparatory postures now that we have the strength, the space, the range of motion, the fire, and coming back to that energy of ether, that energy of spaciousness. Allow this to feel spacious within your breath and within your body. Let's take it to the right side. And from your tabletop position, and tuck the toes, take the hips to the sky, right toes reaching back of the room, open up your scorpion. Square it off, take it across the body, right knee to right elbow. Extend that right leg, planting the outer blade of that right foot. Right hands connected, open up, peeling open to feel into your fallen triangle. Left side of the heart expands. Now you can stay here, or if you do want to get a little playful and feel into a little more strength, you can draw the shoulders back to stack and attempt to lift that right leg off the mat. So it takes a little more strength, a little more stability, just a variation there of your fallen star. Either way, we square it back off and we'll take a chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale, rise. Ripple it back, hips to heels. Take it back, tabletop. This is it, final star, final side. Your lefty. I keep spinning so I've got space to show you. And tabletop, our toes tuck. Find your plank, inhale. Hips to the sky, exhale, plant the right heel. Left toes to rise, open the hip. And draw the left knee across the body, maybe making contact with the elbow. Extend the left leg, resting the outer blade of that left foot up in alignment with that left hand. Right arm peels open, feel into your fallen star. Stay here or explore, stacking the shoulders and drawing some power and some strength through that left leg as we draw to rise, taking that fall not so literally, or maybe sweep it back, chaturanga. Inhale, rise. Ripple it back, your balasana. Take it all the way back, hands beside the feet, forehead connecting to the mat. Take a couple of rounds of breath. When we connect to ether and connect to that extra space, Just like a star burning brightly, that Patita Tarasana, Patita fallen Tara star. We feel that fire. We feel lit up. We feel expansive. We feel expressive. Yogi, slowly draw the head to rise as you unravel the spine and draw back to your seat. Maybe finding yourself supported once more with that bolster. And bringing the blocks back into play. Resting them nice and flat beneath the knees. Find your Sukhasana, opposite way in which you took your Sukhasana at the start of practice. Coming back to our Akasha Mudra, connecting middle finger and thumb. Allow the shoulders to rest. Allow the elbows to rest. Allow the remaining 3 fingers to remain at rest, elongated along your legs. Take a couple of big rounds of breath, sighing out. And feel into the support beneath you. And feel into the bolster, feel into the blocks. Feel into your breath. As we come back to catch our breath. Yogis, it doesn't always feel super comfortable, and often we don't feel supported when we're working to take up more space, when we're leaning into that ether that surrounds us. But it's our connection, and it's our connection to the space within us, the space that surrounds us, and it's ours to play with. So feel that support, or feel into the lack of support, and whether it's there or not. This is your experience. This is your journey. Why play small? Why play it safe? Use it all, occupy it all, feel into it all. For you only get this one chance. Yogis, take your final breath in your seat. Releasing that Akasha Mudra. Open the palms. Spread your wings nice and wide. Take a sweep of the sky. Take the gaze to the sky. Find your hands in prayer and draw it back into your heart center. Yogis, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful, expressive posture of fallen star with me today. Your Patita Tarasana. May you feel like a bright, shining star, spacious in the universe. Whether you feel like you've fallen or not, don't play small, occupy it all. Be prepared to fall, because if you don't fall, how are you going to know how good it feels in full flight? Namaste.